Don't worry, I'm sure there'll be plenty more nonsense.
Oh, there will. Oh,
Oh,
there
there
will.
always will be. Yes.
Speaking of nonsense, shall we make a start?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, intro incoming.
Shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut up and answer the question. Shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut up, shut up. Shut up and answer the question.
Hello and welcome to Shut Up and Answer the Question, the show where we take, you know what, we take a really bloody long time to answer questions. That's what we do around here. I'm Ethan Lawrence.
And I'm Sean Anthony. That was a bloody long time to introduce the show as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was full of beans. I was full of beans this morning. The weather outside is frightful. The fire is so delightful, and I just babbled. I yapped, as the
There we
kids
go.
say.
And well, at least we're having a good time though, even though it's pouring outside.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Oh yeah, it's wrong time of year. Is literally like the complete opposite side of the year to be doing these jokes.
It's June.
But
And not only is it June, we're on a Zoom.
oh
That's
yes,
sort of a half rhyme.
Almost
I'm
right.
not thrilled about it.
Yeah, nearly. It was
Yeah,
yeah,
barely.
it's one of those
actually.
ones.
Oh God, you know what just happened there, Sean? The guest talked before I introduced him,
I
and you know that's
I
a
know.
But I
bugbear
couldn't
of
bear
mine.
it, mate. I couldn't let that go. Like,
Too-
it's like you can't pass that off as a rhyme. I mean, R.
That's-
Kelly would be turning in his prison cell. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
Well,
we're off to a
more
flyer.
than he normally is.
Okay, we're spicy today.
Sorry. I just always remember R. Kelly's rhyming dictionary style lyrics, and it was the first thing that popped into my head.
Never apologize.
Right, well, I can't delay this any longer then, since the guest has jumped in already. So I can't.
Sorry.
I've written a page and a half of A6 to introduce our guest today, as I normally do. So sit back and let me read your career to you.
Oh, I love this.
Here we go. Our guest today is a TV director, a TV writer, and a TV producer. Making his professional start corralling quasi-real toffs in Made in Chelsea, he created and helmed Top Coppers and Sexy Murder for the BBC. Since then, he's gone from strength to strength, directing horrible history so damn well, he's now basically CBBC's in-house man. Also shooting Andy and the Band, Pickle Storm, and Horrible Science. But if you think for 1 minute he's just sketch and sitcom, fuck off. You absolutely fuck off. He's the man who brought back Games Master and most recently gave us ITV's The Assembly, which me and Sean went absolutely feral for. Please welcome the man with the most Irish name in the West Midlands, Céin McGillicuddy.
Hey!
Thank you very much.
Woo!
What an intro. I wish I hadn't spoken before now. That would have
This is
been great.
This is what I always think to myself. I'm like, the guest will sit there patiently, and then I will read their career to them. Then they'll be on their back foot because no one wants to hear that.
Oh, well, I don't know whether I'm your first guest, but I absolutely lap that sort of stuff up. It's great. Tell me all about me.
Just give me more.
Because the amount of
more.
times we've done this, and like our guests have just sort of sat there in the Zoom, just looking really, really uncomfortable.
I don't know why it should have, because I'm I'm British and Irish. I'm a mixed breed, and any sort of adulation or praise should make me deeply, deeply uncomfortable. But I'm very comfortable with it. I don't know. Maybe
You've taken that
As you
skin
should
off.
be. Yeah.
You know what I think it is? I'm sharing this very early, and it's maybe too much. I'm maybe going to blow the seal. But when I was a little boy, my mum was really like a big believer in complimenting everything. Like just always positive encouragement all the time, and to the point that I would use the potty, and she'd go, "Oh, that is lovely! Wow." That is so lovely. And I believed this so intently that I would then carry the potty around everyone else in the house and show them. And be like, there you go.
You
And that was the
literally
first
believe
time of
your
just-
don't stank.
Yeah, exactly. And I have believed that my shit don't stank ever since.
You've been showing other people your shit since you were little.
Yeah, but yes. Oh, that's very good.
That's clearly where it all stems
That's
from.
very good.
I mean, to be fair, we should have known that you'd be happy to talk about your career, because for the people listening at home, and we'll probably clip this at some point, but for the people listening at home, the wall behind Keen is covered in just stuff that he's worked on.
Yes, yeah, that would be a good sign that I'm comfortable.
And it's lovely though. It's really encouraging, like as well, just to be able to have the stuff that you've been in, to be there to. Because, well, I don't know, as a creator myself, I've got bare walls here, and I really should decorate with stuff that I've been in, but it's really easy to forget what stuff that you've been in, and like in the process of trying to move on to the next thing. So having reminders there,
It's genuinely really
is.
useful. It's like on different levels. One at that practical level. So if I'm thinking about stuff I've made, or trying to reference my mind and go, hang on, what have I made? It's like that. I can just sometimes look back and check them all and go, oh yeah, that would fit with that. So it's useful on that practical level. But obviously, just in terms of your confidence and a reminder, like especially as a freelancer, it's very easy to you can get lost in your own thoughts or perceptions of things when something doesn't go your way, or you don't get a response to something, and you start to question, your own validity, your own quality.
Definitely.
And it's like it's someone going, no, look, you've done all this, you know your stuff, you know what you're doing. And the nicest thing I love about all of these is this row of cushions, because these are fan drawn illustrations of Top Coppers. There was a particular young fan, she was only 16 at the time, from Wales when it came out, and I got this Google alert for DeviantArt or something like that, and I went on, and she had drawn all of her favorite moments in these beautiful illustrations from each episode, and had done them with different colored backdrops and everything like that. And so I just sent her a message and said, they're absolutely beautiful. Do you mind if I can do something with them, like get them printed as cushions or something? And she was so like enamored that person who had made the show had got in touch, it was really lovely. And she was like, yeah, please do go ahead. And so like that's amazing. Like a reminder when because sometimes you do things, and as I've already told you about my mom, if I showed my mom anything I make, she's like, oh my god, it's wonderful. And that's great, but like confirmation that somebody I've never met and may never never meet loved something I made that much, that she put all that time into it, and you go, well, that's when okay, it did definitely work then. My mom's not blowing smoke at my ass. I mean, she might.
It sort of feels that's like a
coincidence.
Feels that's like a shrine to yourself now. Now I feel bad by.
Well, yeah. In a sense, it is. It is, but it's certainly a nice confidence boost when you need it.
Definitely, yeah.
I've got the tie that I wore in Bad Education hanging on a cupboard in my room.
Oh, good.
Just sort of on the corner.
You should, because it's only like Americans. I don't think would ever have any concerns about doing anything like this, and it's just built into British culture to, you just and Irish as well. Actually, if anything, it's even worse than Ireland, that you can never celebrate, your achievements. And I think you absolutely can. Why not? Like, if you've achieved them, if you've worked hard and you've managed that, it's not fake, it's real. So I think go for it. And as long as it's never about casting opinions or over other people. I'm just proud of myself that I'm never using that to be like, so therefore I'm better than you. Because that's when it's different, and you're like, all right, well, don't be an arsehole about it. Talking of arsehole, that's my cat just pulling up the carpet. Excuse me.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah. Hey, we got a pet on the pod. We love this.
This is Fred.
Hi, Fred.
Hey, Fred.
He's
relentlessly fussy. He's more like a dog than a cat. And we've got two beagles as well. So he's known as the Threeagle.
Excellent.
Needs not explaining.
Wonderful stuff. This is a nice symmetry. The first ever guest we had on, Alfie Indro, also had a cat perched on his shoulder for about 5 minutes during the pod.
Oh, really? Oh,
we love a pet on the pod. I mean, our producer is a dog.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Who,
he's fast asleep at the moment.
oh, is
He's
he?
producer Milo, so
Well,
the
hope.
age is finally getting to him, I think.
What? Oh, well, I'll wait. I'll ask more about him when we meet him. But I'm a big dog man, so I have to meet Milo before we
Awesome.
finish.
You
I'll see if
certainly
we
are a
can.
big dog man. And speaking of big dogs, it's time for a question.
Okay,
That was not my best segue. It doesn't matter.
it works.
So I've procured a question for you, King, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Absolutely. And with any luck, it will take roughly 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
So here we go. From Alex Linehan, the question for this episode is thus: what is the largest non-human primate you could beat in an arm wrestle?
What's the largest
Ooh.
non-human primate that could beat an arm wrestle?
Yes. Now you're not going to be like we love hypotheticals on this pod. You are not going to be required to prove it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Gorilla then.
I was wondering how I could, because I could get Fred back if we do need some evidence.
How good you are at arm wrestling.
Yeah,
Arm
I
wrestling
think
a
I
cat.
could probably take Fred. I could probably take Fred. I was probably going to say my wife, but not because But then I realised she doesn't count, and not because she's human, because she's not, but more that I just couldn't beat her.
Far too strong from wherever she comes from.
She is built like a brick shit house, so it is actually genuinely it's a tough arm wrestle.
Well, you're a fit man, Keen. We've been in several rooms together
Thanks very much.
over the course of horrible histories, horrible science, pickle storm, etc., etc.
Mm.
You clearly look after yourself. So, do you consider yourself strong? Are you strong?
So I don't know, do I look after myself? My wife looks after me. Is probably fairer. So when I first met my wife, I didn't look at all like this. The way I put it is I have a lot more beard now and a lot less face than I did then. And I saw a photo of me recently. You know, when your phone sometimes suggests old images, on
Yeah.
your home screen. And I saw this picture of me and I clicked on it. I was like, oh my God, I do not look very good there at all. I looked very drawn. And my hair was, I don't know what was going on with my hair at the time. It was just all sorts of a mess. And I thought, I don't look good there. And I clicked on it and I saw the date and it said 17th of August, 2016. And it was like during the day. I was like, oh my God, that's that day. That's the day when I met Kat. I met her that evening.
No way.
And I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
and I looked like that. I was like, it must have been really funny. Like, because I don't know how, like, because, she is an incredible woman. Like, she's beautiful, obviously. Um, but, um, but also just a really sound, great person. And I just thought, like, I don't like, it's weird looking back. Like I didn't look anything like this. And so she's a personal trainer. He said, so that's the best investment I think I've ever made is marrying a personal trainer. Because, like the
To be
difference.
clear, a time investment, not a cash investment. She's not charging you.
No, she's not. Yeah, thank the Lord. Yeah, 'cause that would not be feasible. But also when we got married, one of my vows was to train with you. Because it's so important to her. Training is really important. It's a big part of her life, and it's the best commitment I've made because there's no better motivation to get you up in the morning to train than the fact that you'll be letting your wife down, who could quite realistically beat you in an arm wrestle. That's an agreement to train that you don't want to break. So
I've always said that all the best marriages are built on fear.
absolutely 100% pure fear.
It is nice that my wife she's quite fit as well, and she does a daily workout routine, and it does make it. I've been doing it with her since she started as well, and it does make it easier having someone to do it with, especially when you're
Yeah.
starting out. But yeah, it's that same sort of thing. My wife could probably beat me. There's
Yeah.
no probably about it. in arm
But yeah,
wrestle.
but I like that, and she's been instrumental in really helping shape a lot of my outlook. I like to think my outlook was, pretty positive and not like massively toxic. I think, her strong kind of, sense of morality and equality has really impacted me and has shaped certain things. There's definitely been times I've said things, and she's gone, "But why?" And then I'll question, gone, "Oh yeah, well, hang on, why am I thinking that?" Like, and it's that kind of culturally inbuilt sexism or misogyny, and then you go, "Yeah, actually, why have I always like thought that, or why am I instinctively thinking that then?" And you start to question yourself, and it was like uh, Muhammad Ali said that a man who sees the world at 50 the way he saw it at 20 has wasted 30 years of his life. So she's helping make that a reality for me, I suppose.
I suppose it helps as well for your like creative process to be questioned, right? To have
Mm.
someone actually like, interrogate you about what you think. Because
Yeah.
if my timeline is right, 2016, so you've already made Top Coppers by this point.
Yes, that's right. So we'd made it the year before, about a year before I met Kat. Um,
So I mean, you're already, you've already made and sold a TV show by that
mm.
point, which is sort of mad.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's mad thinking because that's 10 years ago this year, which has gone extraordinarily fast.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So how did that all come about? Like, tell us about Keen's journey into directing a BBC sitcom.
So with Top Coppers was the routine, but it took some time. So obviously, as we said, 2015 was when the series came out, but the very first incarnation of Top Coppers was in 2006. So it was a 9-year journey in total. Not full time, obviously, but it was 9 years from the original conception to the full series, and that journey was in 2006. I just sort of finished uni, had come out. I just finished a master's at Bournemouth. I'd done a BA in script writing, film and TV, and then I did a master's in TV production. And I'd met a guy, Andy Kinnear, there who well, became a good friend of mine. He specialised in editing, but he's a very funny guy, and we just connected, much like you guys, I'm sure. And we just started working together, making little shorts and stuff. And Rain Dance had this initiative, they were looking for 15-second films. It's called the Nokia Shorts Award, and we were like, oh, we could probably make something for that. And we had this idea of like, what about the idea that we tried to squeeze a whole episode of something that should have been much longer into 15 seconds just so we could enter it into this competition. And so we conceived of like a detective episode, like a cop show type episode that has all of the cliches of them doing something wrong, getting their badges confiscated, and then they have to go and clear their name and they win their badges back. We were like, could we tell that story but in 15 seconds with really quick, like Edgar Wright style, whip pans and snappy cuts and stuff. And then Andy had ginger hair, and we knew another actor called Luke who also had big ginger hair, like a ginger fro, and we were like, well, on a really sort of basic level, that's funny. you know, we were under no disillusions. That wasn't winning any comedy awards in it of itself. But we're like, well, it's just as a visual for such a short piece, it's punchy, and we were like, it'll be a bit like Starsky and Hutch, so like mahogany and rust. We were like, yeah, great, that works, and so put that together in this little 15-second short, entered it into Rain Dance. And there was actually two categories. Entered it into the one category it was eligible for, and there was another 15-second category but had to be shot on a phone. So for that we shot a stupid little thing doing a tour of my house, and Andy jumps out of a window, and it was really, really dumb. That's the one that won.
Of course. The one that you put no effort into.
Yeah, the one that was like, it was a single shot thing we just did of an evening. And then the other one, Top Coppers, which was really like curated and took like maybe a day and a half of like different locations, and it had a score to it and everything. That got best of the rest as like the top 20, I think it was, or something. But there's the other one that won, and that one is like a trip to the Cannes Film Festival, like all expenses paid. It was insane.
Wow.
And to be clear, this is the one that you then didn't option into a sitcom.
Well, yeah, exactly, because it was just a gag of like, someone jumping out of it. Was like a pratfall, like a silly gag.
Look, if you can condense a half-hour cop show into 15 seconds, I think you could expand 15 seconds of someone jumping out a window into
well,
a full project.
hey, maybe we need to go back to it. Like it's got its acknowledgement on the wall. That is the tour of the house. Those
I
two
mean,
little ones there.
it's 2025. The
Amazing.
time is now.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe
well,
we
it's
need this
finally
now
getting
more
its
than
moment.
ever.
especially
that-
with like social media and short form content being like it's just getting ever bigger and ever bigger. You could probably do a whole series
it's
of
so
just
true,
that
actually.
one jump through the window.
That's so true, actually. And I wish we had not had this conversation in a recorded setting because I probably would have stolen that. and
We
just
can
run it.
cut all of this.
Cut
Yeah.
all of it.
We
Great.
could just not put the episode out.
Probably
probably
won't
the
come
best
out for
way.
another 8 weeks or something. So you've got time.
I've got that time exactly.
I said, just get it locked in. Go
Get
to
it in
Auntie
the Netflix
BBC.
quick.
Go to Mr. Channel 4.
Yeah.
Do
definitely.
you find that though, like with like how short form content or how social media does sort of how that is shot, how it changes how you undertake your projects, if that even makes sense, or do you just sort of you want to stick with how you visualize it yourself?
Well, I suppose you. Let me think a sec. You know, I have to adapt everything I'm doing to whatever the project is, and whatever the trends are, like you know the way viewing trends are going. Is what I mean. And I, you know, as I say, like started out making so much short form content, largely because you know you're getting your career going. You don't have a lot of money, you know, to self-fund stuff, and short form was, you know, what you could do, and cut your teeth and show what you're capable of. And it's odd because that wasn't as prevalent, and you couldn't monetize it in the way you can now. And so my career has gone into long form. While you know the industry's actually going short form. And so I'm like racing ahead and going, yeah, looking back, going, what guys, what? You know, and actually,
Where'd they go?
all the money's back there now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if that quite answers your question, though, Sean.
No, that was yeah. Well, especially with like horrible histories and horrible science, having those little in jokes
Yeah.
in there as well. Yeah, it's
Well,
Yeah,
we were
it's just-
actually on the episode that came out today, Sean, and what we discussed last week when we recorded it. We were talking about how, you know, things are shot with vertical in mind now in certain cases.
Yeah,
I mean, funny enough, I was on TikTok the other day and saw a advert for the assembly
oh
that
really?
that obviously had been cut for vertical,
Yeah.
and it was really zoomed in. It was.
I saw
mean-
the kind of sigh in your head as you, yeah.
I can imagine because some of those shots we do in the assembly are so tight. Some of the profiles, like you know, they get right in there, and like I'm on comms, you know, to the cameras, and sometimes I'm going like eyes to mouth. Like I'm not barking. In fairness, that was misrepresentation. I'm very polite, but I'm like eyes to mouth, please, eyes to mouth. You know, because maybe they're in there, but I'm like, no, get in there. I want to get in there. And so you can imagine when they turn that to 9x16 instead of 60x9, and you know, they can have to like be on the nose. It's like
Yeah.
you must just see it nose.
It's some of it was kind of odd. I don't think I've ever seen Gary Lineker's face so big. You
Yeah.
could see every pore.
Yes, yeah, God, I can imagine. Yeah,
It was, I must say, I was-
Ears.
Sorry, I was just saying I was speaking to Ethan just before you came in about how well I'd watched the assembly and absolutely loved it, and then was talking to my wife that we were having you on, and she was like, "Oh, I wanted to see the assembly," and there's me just going, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Oh, have you seen it?" I was like, "Yeah, I've watched it all," and she's like, "Oh, okay." So it's fine. I get to watch it again though. So it's the whole time I'm there. Just sort of, it's that make
Yeah.
me smile thing when you're just watching the whole thing like that.
Oh, that's so good. That is exactly what we wanted from it. You know, it's such a sort of just a beautiful kind of format of a show, really. And something I've wanted to do and been pushing with a lot of my work for years is like soul. You know, that you have to make television like with soul, as in soul on screen, like but like in your intentions and in your decisions for everything, and not be cynical. Don't make cynical decisions that are just based on stats, or you know, like base things on your soul as a human, and what moves you, like what genuinely makes you laugh. So in comedy, it's about what makes you laugh, and drama or documentary, it might be what moves you, like what affects you. And the key thing I find in everything is human connection. Like if you connect with other human beings, that's what kind of reminds you you're alive. And there's a really important thing it's discussed in cognitive science about the importance of connection with strangers, and how family, of course, and friends is really important, but there's something extra powerful about connection with strangers. And those little moments when like you're on the tube and something happens, something funny happens, someone gets stuck in the door, and you glance across and you see and you connect eyes with someone opposite, and even you just raise your eyebrows at each other, like, oh, close one, or like it produces this kind of chemical reaction in you and it does make you feel good. It makes you feel happier. And so connection is so important, and I think it's got overlooked for a long time in telly, for things that are showy and polish and Jeopardy and all these sort of buzzwords that became almost like a people just trying to throw the things in they're meant to do to make it good, rather than following your instincts or what makes it good. And the assembly is just a format where people can sit in a room and connect with each other. And by the way that we shoot it and capture it, you're able to be right in there with them. You can be right in that conversation with them. So you get all those visceral benefits of that connection they're having, and you feel you connect too. And they talk about those really heartfelt, significant experiences, like loss of your parents, or and David Tennant talking about his one of his children being non-binary, and the effects of culture and social media on them, and like these are and Danny Dyer talking about having an absent father, and I think he says, I don't understand how a man can rest his head on like a pillow and go to sleep at night when he's got children out there that he's not in touch with. And it really moves you. And there's it's not for me personally, but there's someone very significant in my life for which that is the case. And I was watching it with her, and I pulled her closer in that moment because I knew what that would mean to her, how that would impact her. And that's what's so beautiful about it. And so watching it for 22 minutes is a joy. You can only imagine what the record is like, because you're in the room, and it is just that. It is really real. Everything you're seeing on there is not cynical. It's not produced. It's nothing's acted. It is just captured. And a lot of the time we don't know what's coming. We don't, like, we're at the monitors and a question suddenly gets asked, and you're like like, because it can be a really ballsy one. You're like, and we just have to capture it live, so I'm just queuing cameras and stuff to capture whatever the moment is, like, because you never know when someone's going to stand up and go and sort of fist bump the guest, and you're like, look, where did that come from? You can't plan for that. So it's beautiful. It's such a joy to me. It really is.
I mean, I encourage everyone listening to this, if you haven't seen it, to go and watch it. And just to give it the sort of the basic premise, a celebrity is parachuted into a room with a group of autistic and neurodivergent interviewers, and
About 30.
and then it ensues. I mean, you're absolutely right. It is the least cynical thing I think I've ever watched in my time of watching telly. I mean, not to blow smoke up your ass, but my intention was I was going to watch one or two in prep, and then I stood up having watched all four, like tears streaming down my face, and being like, right, okay, I think I'm ready to talk to Kane now.
That's so lovely.
But it's just that whole well of, as you say, like that genuine, just sort of such a good positive bubble that you never see. That is just sort of, it brings it out in you as well, and it's just like, even with like I can't remember her name now, when going to take Gary Lineker out to look over when he's afraid of heights, and then just seeing that hole, and then from then it was literally
Sophie,
like you could see the wall just drop around him, and it was
that's
like,
well observed. And that was a bit of a clincher, because he definitely was more apprehensive. He's probably the most apprehensive when he came in the room.
Well, he was sort of going through it at the time a bit, wasn't he?
Well, yes, exactly. As we know now, it really was. Um, but he was still great with them, and he really did open up. But I could tell you know, um, that he was sort of just a touch unsure, like
Yeah.
he's just getting his bearings, and I think what everyone realizes quite quickly is that they are entirely sincere. These are the questions they want to ask, and there's no ulterior motive. There's no one's out to get them as a guest, and so it's one of the only times in the media spotlight where they can just drop any facade and they can drop their guard down and just answer as a human being. And that
There
kind
was a
of
wonderful
level
moment where Danny Dyer taught everyone meditation,
oh yeah,
and like we just the bravery to put on television
yeah,
like 2 minutes of just basically silence for the majority of it,
yeah.
and occasionally Danny Dyer just saying the word one.
It's-
Like it was an amazing bit of telly. I mean, if you
yeah,
don't mind me asking, how did this all come about? Because it seems like, having now watched it, it seems like the most obvious idea in the world to make something like that. But
yeah.
as you were saying, like the sort of the media that we consume now these days
Mm.
tends to be a bit cynical.
Yes.
How did you get it on screen? How did it all come around?
Well, funnily enough, just on that, like that's such a good example. Just what you're saying there about the Danny Dyer meditation, where I think there would have been a time like 10, you know, 20 years ago for sure, maybe even 10 years ago, when you never would have got that through because I think the what I would say a more cynical attitude would be, that's dead time. Like people will switch over because nothing's happening, but actually so much is happening
It
because
was such a powerful
yeah,
moment, like a
that's
whole
the
room
soul.
full of people
Yeah,
just
that's television made with soul because you're okay. This is really what's happening is kind of nothing, and that's the beauty of it, because they are all connecting in that moment, and that human connection is so powerful.
everyone's
But
super present. Like,
mm,
not a single person in that room wasn't involved. Like, it was just it's human connection, like you said. Sorry, I'm interrupting. It's such a
no,
good
no,
show.
not at all. What I'll do is I'll shut up and answer your question. Hey,
Aha! Like
Yeah.
the
so
show's called that.
yeah, oh, is that the title? Oh yeah. Um, no, so it's actually a French format originally, and in France it's called it's called the A Talks, but in French, which pardon me, I don't know unfortunately.
Le
But
talk.
yeah, yes, yeah, that's it exactly. Oh my God,
I
fluent.
know. What can I say?
Yeah, and it's very similar. It's the same concept of about 30 neurodivergent, learning disabled, and autistic adults um, interviewing a celebrity, and it's shot. The location is a bit different, and actually, the one thing that's quite significantly different is it's much bluer, as in like their color grade is much bluer, which I mean, it just seems very French to me, which is great. I think that generally that's that. I mean, it's literally their national color, but I just mean that it feels and looks French when you watch it, and that
Everyone's
was
smoking a Gauloise, like
yeah, exactly. And it's they're all in cafes and it's subtitled
all onions around their neck.
exactly, and they're talking about being in love, and all of a sudden it cuts to an art gallery and there's a woman walking around naked.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
yeah,
all it does
it's
to us.
yeah.
Yeah,
You wouldn't get that on ITV.
no, exactly.
You fit that one into
Exactly.
15 seconds and submit that.
I'll show you rain dance.
I mean, they would probably lap that up. They love French stuff. It's art. I mean, directors are called le réalisateur in the realizer, like in France. So it's like it's a much cooler place to be a director. I think that
The
sounds amazing.
realizer.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
need to adopt that one. Although
yeah,
that also sounds like a sort of a vengeance kind of action movie as well.
yes, yeah.
The realizer. I've started noticing things. Time to go on a rampage.
But yeah. So um, the one thing I really wanted to do when this came up was uh change a little bit kind of how it's captured. So still shot like in what's called in the round, where the cameras are kind of 360. But I wanted to pay particular attention to a couple aspects. One is the 180 line, and so I don't know if are you familiar with the 180 line? Do you know this concept?
Obviously, me and Sean know all about it, but for the people at home,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, I see it in your eyes. It's so
the
clued up.
panic,
Yeah.
the
So,
sheer panic.
well, when we've worked together, Ethan, on Horrible Histories, you may have noticed that when when I'm shooting you, that sounds odd. When I'm filming you, um, uh, we're always like on the same side of you, if you know what I mean. So we're
Ah,
like
yes.
always on your right hand side. And if we're filming over your right shoulder, we don't suddenly jump and come over like Harry Hayes' left shoulder when you're talking opposite her. And the issue being, you do that. It's an old like golden Hollywood rule where if you jump across that 180 line between you, um, it can look like you're not looking at each other. So it's this weird, phenomenon. You
Heard of
probably
crossing the
recognize these
line.
things.
That's the thing that I've heard.
You've heard
Yes.
crossing the line. Exactly. That's the 180
Yes.
line. So if you cross the line, it can create this disconnect. And it's something that is disgustingly rife on TikTok and Instagram, because obviously people brilliantly are like now able to just creatively make their own stuff, and a lot of it's brilliant. But there's a few kind of rules like that where people they just don't know about them, and it really bothers me to watch it. And you see like obviously this is for people like who are able to see us,
We'll clip
like
this.
yeah, yeah, someone's looking that way, and then you cut to the next shot, and they're also looking that way, and you go, so now it looks like two people just looking off away from each other, And so when you're filming 360, that's a big issue because it becomes about edit choices. Like if you cut from one camera that's on one side to one on the other, it's like who's looking at who, and that can create a disconnect in the emotion of the moment. Because if you suddenly are questioning who's looking at who, you're not thinking, you're not in the emotion of what's going on. Your mind is in the technical, if you like, rather than the emotion. So I was conscious to change it to make the 180 line a much more discernible thing, and to get on the eye line, as in to get in really close like a drama. So get in really tight, so the cameras will come right over someone's shoulder and not be further away, because actually it's that connection over a shoulder into someone's eyes, which is why drama is always in tight like that. Where a lot of the emotion lies is either in that or in a hard profile, I find, which is why we have those lovely hard profile shots as well, because you read a lot more sometimes in someone's face in profile than you do square on. So they were my like sort of big priorities to amplify the emotion of it even more, because it's so beautiful anyway, just like ready made. It's like, okay, how can we increase it 20 30%, like how can we amp it up that bit more? So that was the sort of technique.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, certainly from a viewer's perspective, one of the things that I quite liked about being in that tight was that as a viewer, you sort of feel like you're in there.
Yeah,
Like, there's no sort of abstraction. Like, you're
yeah,
not, you don't feel like you're really separated from the action because the cameras are in so tight, and it almost feels like you're amongst the crowd.
yes.
You almost want to raise your hand and like, contribute your own point,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that was what I wanted to get. I wanted everyone to feel that way, watching it, and like feel like that it's the closest they could be to being in the room. So yeah, I'm so pleased that I made you guys absolutely bawl your eyes out. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, mission accomplished. There's no greater compliment we can give, I suppose, and I am absolutely certain it's going to hoover up awards. Speaking of awards,
Yeah.
I couldn't possibly have you on and not talk about Horrible Histories,
Oh, of course.
because we've had obviously lovely James McNicholas on, and we bitched and moaned about how hard it is, and
Because of the directors, yeah.
yeah, you came in for an absolute pasting on that one. No, of course not. But I wanted to sort of try and get your perspective from the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
So as people who have listened to the pod know, we did 2 series back to back at the end of 2022, which for us as actors, a lot of stuff to learn, a lot of stuff to remember, lots of costume changes and everything like that. From your perspective as a director, looking at down the barrel of like 12 odd episodes shot across multiple weeks, what's the process of prepping for that? And like, were you nervous at all?
Well, so when I first did it, because my first time doing the show was that series 10, and obviously series 10, 11, we shot back to back. Um, uh, like I'd made big shows, and I'd done Top Coppers, which was a particularly big, ambitious show, and I'd authored that. So it wasn't the scale didn't intimidate me. The one bit that makes you go, "Ooh," when it first came through was the page count that you achieve per day.
Yes.
And as you'll know, like in drama, it tends to be like it can be as low as 3 or 4, maybe 5 pages a day. Comedy tends to be more because it's more dialogue heavy a lot of the time. So maybe 6 or 7 or 8, if it's a heavy day. We were doing 18 to 23 pages a day, like
Oh
on
yeah.
average. So you're like, well, that's like 3 times as much.
When I did, because I started on series 9 just before you came to join us,
Mm.
and I remember looking at my first call sheet and seeing like 18 and a half pages, and I'd be like, "Oh, silly first AD putting a typo in." And then, no, no,
No
not
typo.
a typo.
Yeah, I know, and it's extraordinary. And I remember, so Paul Taylor, who's of course is the other director on are horrible and is absolutely brilliant, and we've become actually quite good pals since working together on the show. Even though you don't really work together because you obviously do separate blocks and stuff, but there's a
Well, there
lot of
was that
time that.
day. There was that day where we had the split unit and did 33 and a half pages.
Oh God, that's right. Yeah,
I have
that's
never
enough to
forgotten
bond
that
anybody.
day.
Yeah, it's enough to bring anybody together. Jesus. Yeah, but yeah, Paul was brilliant, and he was doing the second block. I was doing the first, and so obviously he's prepping while I was shooting, and I'd already gone through that process of coming to terms with the 18 to 23 pages a day average, and I just got a message from him saying, "Is this page count right?" And he was going through what I had about 5 weeks before, and sort of give him a bit of a pep talk, going, "It's all right. I don't know how, but it works, and we are able to do it." And which I think is a combination of one, you guys, the performers, being just so good. Like it is extraordinary, like how much you guys are able to get through and be on it and remember, the lines
Well,
so
when we
well.
discussed it with James, like it's a sort of a kind of panicked trauma response because it's like you have to know the lines because you have to. If you don't, everyone will be ever so cross with you.
Yeah, so it's all yeah, it's like you want to avoid that awful like group stare if if you can't get them sort of thing.
That moment where everyone's like, it is 40 seconds until we need to go on lunch. If
Yeah.
you can't get this TikTok clip of you playing Charles the First in that time, there will be a mutiny and it will be your head on display.
Yes, or maybe the 30 seconds before a rap,
Ugh.
like the actual rap of the day, which and again for people who are not aware, it's very very important that you rap on time in television because it can be incredibly expensive because of overtime charges. So there's always that, and that's a big part of my job is to ensure. Obviously, the first AD is the one who's scheduled it, and they're the one who's keep track of time. But they're first AD are largely beholden sometimes to a director if they're still making kind of bold creative choices when there's not a lot of time. So we have to also be very conscious of that time and ensuring that you capture it within the day. Um, and so because the nature of how much we're trying to achieve, as you well know, Ethan, though those last sketches of the day can sometimes be a bit of a whirlwind.
It can
Um,
be we're run a bit ragged.
yeah, and but I honestly think that so many of those sketches turn out to be so beautiful because there's like an energy, like there's an energy that comes like, and there's a sense of everyone's like, okay, we're in it, let's do this, and they often just come out like they just have something extra special about them.
It's that locking in thing. Like
Mm,
it's again sort of on a more broader case. Like obviously we're learning our lines and we're making sure that we're on it. But like when your back is properly up against the wall with the time pressure, you
mm.
you lock the fuck in because you sort of have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, and then the sort of visceral, I don't know, the group feel of that. I imagine it's in a much smaller way how people felt in the Apollo 13 kind of incident when they're all at NASA like coming together like how do we work out, how to bring them back and, managing to bring them back. Imagine it's like that, but just for children's television.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah,
We're,
yeah.
we're,
It's
we're,
basically the same. It's better.
we're actually heroes in a way.
You know
More,
what?
more so than like a firefighter or a soldier, really.
Much more.
Funny you say that though, because obviously from my perspective, I'm viewing it from a consumer point of view because my kids love horrible histories, horrible science. They to the point I saw Ethan at the shop once with one of my kids, and he was like, "Oh, hey," had a chat, and yeah, she was just there going, "I know you," but
Oh,
it's just
really?
it's the way that it's presented and.
Sweet.
Just again, it's it as coming back to the assembly, I guess it's that soul that's been put in it
Hmm.
that not only is it just genuinely entertaining, but it's stuff that they recite, just like, oh yeah, this is this, like when they come back from school and then like because they've applied what they've learned from the show,
Yes.
but it is just genuinely just such a good like it is just such a good show to watch with them and watch them enjoy it with you guys obviously enjoying making it as well.
Yeah.
So it is.
Yeah. And I think you're just so right because that always comes across. Like
Mm,
whatever the atmosphere is that's going on behind the scenes, um, will always affect what you
mm,
get on camera in some way. And so maintaining a kind of happy, fun atmosphere um, is so key, especially in comedy. If you're making a hard hitting miserable drama, then maybe people like a miserable set. I don't know. But it's not my approach. Like I think it's really important that everybody's still having a good time. Keep perspective. You are making television, um, uh, and not it's actually referencing NASA again for some reason. I don't know why NASA's so prevalent
On
today
the
in my
mind.
mind. But like, there's a real sort of culture at NASA, which is about safety is always first, and they never will bow to any pressure that's due to like budgetary or political, and it's like. So it needs to be quicker because it's too expensive, or it needs to be quicker because the president has ordered it, or whatever. NASA will be like, no, because they're bad motivations. They're motivations that mean that safety will be compromised. And television could do with that same attitude, I think, sometimes. And a good thing is shows like Horrible Histories, and actually pretty much all the shows I make now, because it's a standard I always try to keep, which is that like safety and people's welfare is the first priority, not the budget, not the time, and to that never let that never let that down, basically never let that principle down, never break that principle, because we're all living our lives now, like everything we're doing, and we're at work, that is your lives happening. You're not prepping for your lives, it's your lives happening. Um and your families, your friends, your livelihood is the most important thing. And I always keep that front and center in my mind, so that people don't think I'm sort of some kind of wild totalitarian old school Hollywood director or something. My attitude is much more about, no, make sure everybody has a good time.
excellent. Well, because yeah, if you don't have safety on set, someone might be, don't know, arm wrestling a primate of some kind.
Oh, hello.
Sean,
Yeah.
don't. I had another question. Don't bring this back to.
Segue.
I don't want to talk about that anymore. I hate this show, man.
Just when you're getting
It wasn't
into it.
really a question. It was because it almost doesn't matter because you sort of answered it. I just was really going to ask whether sort of being the boss man, as it were,
Mm.
on set, does that responsibility weigh heavy? But it sounds like it doesn't really. It sounds like you've got your principles, and as long as you have your principles, then the rest will fall in line.
Yeah, and I guess because I don't really see myself as the boss on set. Like I'm a big believer in what is the true arrangement that it's meant to be, which is that it's your episode, it's your TV program, like typically speaking, as a director, as in like what the content is you're getting, ultimately you're steering that. Um, uh, Horrible History is a very producer-led show,
Yes, that
And
is true.
obviously, they put together the episodes in full, so I'm not across um, all of the interstitials and the interviews with oh, for God, forgive me, what's the rat's name?
Rattus.
Rattus, thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
You could tell that you're not across that bit.
yeah, exactly. Like I've never met Rattus. I'd love to meet Rattus,
Do,
but
do you know what,
I've
Keen? I've
still.
never met Rattus.
You've never met. I mean, who meets Rattus? Like,
Well, Jill Scott meets Rattus.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Not us
People.
mere
Okay.
mortals.
Yeah, we don't get to, right. So like that shot separately, and then it's all packaged up, and they decide on the order. What I do, I plan how to shoot the sketch. I come in and I shoot the sketches on the day, and capture it in a way that I believe is what the producer's intention is, what they really want, and what the writer's intention was. And then we do an offline cut, so we do go into the edit and do what's called the sort of director's cut, which is to get them tight and punchy and to realize the intention that we were doing on the day. So it might have been quite specific how we were shooting it, and the producer might have been looking at us a bit like, what is you really thinking with this? Which that does happen sometimes, with especially the way I approach some stuff. But then you get to the edit and you do the cut, and it's like, okay, yeah, fine, and then they take it into their edit. And a lot of the time it stays like that. Sometimes they have to cut bits out and shorten it, but you kind of like let it go at that point. So it's not an authoring director's job on Horrible Histories, but of course most of the time, like say Top Coppers, where I'm authoring it was I co-created it with a good friend of mine, Andy Kinnear, and then wrote it together. He's editing it, I'm directing it, so it is like a truly authored piece. It's your film, you're making it, but it's not my set, and that's a really important distinction. And I think a lot of directors, especially going into early on, think it's also their set, and it's like it's not. It's the first AD set, and ultimately
Yes.
it's the producer's production. So the producer's in charge of the production, you're not. The first AD's in charge of the set, you're not. And so having a respect for that is really key, because that's where the safety comes in. So for example, I shouldn't just be asking actors to step on and do something with me on set if the first AD hasn't allowed that, because maybe the first AD is given the floor to lighting, and they've got some huge, big, heavy light that they're maneuvering and pushing around, and I suddenly go, "Oh, Ethan, just come on set a sec," and this goes when it falls on you, and the
I
first
get
AD is
crushed.
like, "What was Ethan doing on set?" And I was like, "Oh, I just asked him to step. Oh, sorry." So that's why it's not my set, and frustratingly, I was never able to take you out with the light.
No, it wasn't for want of trying either.
No, I got the amount of times, and you were like, "Are you trying to do the light thing again?" I'm like, "Oh, I keep clambering."
I could see you clambering up the scaffolding with a screwdriver and a wrench. And so I was like, Keen, come down. I need you to tell me how to play this one.
Can you just direct me and not try to kill me?
For fuck's
that
sake,
possible?
Keen, I'm so scared. Because
An
it's
atmosphere
interesting.
of fear is really important.
Fear is important. It's interesting what you were saying about like how obviously it's not your set, it's a producer led thing. I mean, even from an actor's perspective, if you care about that, I don't know if you do, but
Well, those guys,
yeah, you
yeah,
hate
sure,
those
go on.
guys. I'm sure he was trying to kill us with lights. Horrible History is like it's not really an actor's job. Also,
Mm.
like because we're rattling through so many characters, you sort of almost get to feel like like almost like a blunt force weapon
Mm.
in a way. Like everything's so heightened, everything's so sort of out there. You have to sort of just take punts and
Yeah.
take shots, and some of them aren't as considered as others because you're on your fourth sketch of the day and your third character, and so you got no idea. I remember we had a conversation. I think it was you, me, and Paul on Instagram. When I did a thing about just learning to trust in my producers and my directors on Horrible Histories, because it's like I felt like I was completely out of control.
You're like, who am I? Like, who am I
You
now?
lose so much of your identity, and like because you're
Like,
vanishing into these characters, and like you've got reams of words going in one ear, and then at the end of the day, it comes out the other, just to be replaced with more. It's
and you're a
nuts.
peasant one minute, and then you're a pharaoh or something the next, or an emperor, and you're like, but the shift in characterizations you're having to do.
And even as much as like ending up in scenes with different people, like
Mm.
because obviously we have our core team,
Mm.
but like I'd play a scene very differently with Tom Staunton than I would with Paul G. Raymond, for example.
Yes.
Because when you're in a scene with Tom, your job is to be the straight man because he's going to go crazy.
He's going to steal it.
So just let it happen.
Yeah. I learned a really valuable lesson with Tom. It was one of the first sketches I'd done with him because he wasn't there the first few weeks, I think, of Series 10. And so I was quite
Off
away
shooting
into the
Barbie
series.
or something.
Yeah, yes, I think it probably was. And then when he arrived, one of the first sketches was um, it was like a parody of The Apprentice, but set in ancient Egypt.
Good
Um,
sketch that.
yes, and Einel is playing the pharaoh who's bestowing the challenge then, which is you must build a pyramid, and for this challenge you have 30 years. And so really ridiculous kind of concept. And I'm looking at the script as we're about to shoot it, and Tom Stoughton is playing one of the contestants, and Tom's not got any lines in the script. And I said to Matt, the producer, the series producer, so Matt, Tom's not got any lines. It's a bit weird, isn't it? And he went, "Oh no, he'll have lines." And I said, "What? So what do you mean he'll have lines? Like, it doesn't have any lines. They're not in the script." He went, "Oh no, he'll have lines." He ended up with more lines in that scene than anybody else because he just throws them in the gaps. Like, and he like would come up with funny concepts and throwing stuff in. Like, the pharaoh was called it was something like Machego, and he was calling Manchego. Um, like calling him a cheese. And so then when we're doing the little talking head interviews afterwards, we're just throwing extra bits in there, like, now do a bit about you realizing you're calling him the wrong name. And he's like, "Ah, it's a cheese, isn't it? Yeah, I called him a cheese. Oh, I called him a cheese." And also all of a sudden that you got all this gold for the edit, and he's in it, and he's like one of the main characters, and there was nothing on paper.
He's
So
a genius.
yeah, he is. He's absolutely brilliant. But you're right. He's one of those. It's a little bit like Rick Mail coming in to Blackadder as Lord Flashheart, and him openly saying, apparently in the room before they shot it, like, "I'm going to steal this, guys. Just so you know, I'm going to steal this." And then he totally did it. And Tom is one of those sort of performers where it's like such a whirlwind that you kind of just have to I guess, it's like you just have to step back and just, let
He's
it
like
happen.
an elemental force.
Yeah.
Like it's like trying to control the wind. There's no point. Like
Mm,
he's too powerful.
it
Right,
is.
we've got two things to get to before we close this out because we've taken up a frankly embarrassing amount of your time, Kane.
Not at all. I honestly, I don't mind. So don't do it on my behalf.
Oh, in that case, we're going to make these two stretch out for a long time.
Do it.
Sean, ask about Games Master. I can see you've been seething this whole time.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was it was just as well.
What was that like?
I was going to say, yeah, what was it like? But were you a fan of the show originally as well?
I was.
Obviously,
Yeah.
it's been going through, and then obviously through the series there was like a bit of a story going along with like where it was shot and stuff like that. Is that what you were trying to keep in?
Yeah,
Um,
so that's exactly it.
as well?
So yeah, so for anyone not familiar, Games Master was this cult video gaming series in the 90s. Ran for 7 or 8 series, I think. I think
Something
seven.
like.
I think it was seven. I think. And it was just like really off the wall, kind of cultish and unusual, where kids would come on and perform video gaming challenges, and it had a different setting in each season. From There was like an ironworks kind of type place. There was they were under the sea. One of
Yeah,
them, weren't they, Sean? And
there's a cathedral or a church
yes, in
kind
a
of thing.
church.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like some 23 years after it ended, and I watched it loads as a boy. I was sort of prime age, and I loved it. And Sir Patrick Moore was this big floating disembodied round head, who would advise on video games, but seemingly knew nothing about video games. Like, as you could tell, he's reading a script, and that was like kind of beautiful about it. Like, so it had this naffness to it as well, which just worked. It was just great. And so some 23 years later, I'm on a train coming back from a job in Newcastle, and I get a message from a producer called John Farrar, who I worked with many times over the years, and first worked with in like the late noughties, and I was like a researcher and just sort of getting into my career. So we had a really good relationship, and he's just sent me a document saying, um, uh, "Looking like we're making this. Is it something you'd be interested in? Looking for somebody, to series director, but also to maybe show run it, because I think it needs some strong like authorship. It needs someone who can really um, capture the spirit of it and kind of carry that through. Someone who would be able to carry it all the way through, and then sends me the document, and it's called Games Master. And my first thought was, well, that's stupid already, isn't it? Because there's another iconic show from the 90s called Games Master. Why would you call it that? I was like, come on, John, don't you remember Games Master? And then clicked on it, and I was like, oh my God, it's Games Master. Like it was actual game. I was like, it's the Games Master. And so I was like to get me off of the ceiling of the train. Like I was like that. Yeah, I just messed back. Like yes, yeah, 100%. And I was so
Try not to
determined.
sound too keen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
I
think I'd
was
be
like,
interested
please,
in that. Yeah.
what do I have to pay you? Yeah, really, really embarrassing to be honest. And what was my thought? The reason I really wanted to do it was, um, hang on, what was I thinking? Sorry, drawing a blank. Give me one sec. Yes, the reason I really wanted to make it was because I could see how wrong it could be made. I was like,
Right.
I was like this could be terrible, and I would hate that. And I know that there's going to be other diehard kind of fans out there, um, who would love to see this back, but also would be heartbroken if it wasn't done right. And I knew straight away, I was like, I know how to do this right. It felt a little bit like Neo, right? When he's been to see the Oracle, and he has that moment, um, when he says, oh, I was trying to remember the actual words now, the actual lines. My wife's going to be ashamed of me because she knows the Matrix word for word. But he was like, you know, I uh, I know what I need to do. I know how to bring him back. And he has this like epiphany. Like, oh, forget it. It's a terrible analogy. It doesn't work. I
Basically, you
just love
saw
that
through
bit
the
of the Matrix.
Matrix and then you fought Hugo Weaving on a building.
Yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, Neo just has this moment. He's like, I know how to bring him back. Like, you can see Neo is locked in his brain. Like, I know how to do this. That's how I felt with Games Master. I know, and I knew that priority was, um, well, heart and soul again. So same rule to everything, really. Uh, it's got to be done with soul, which means we have to be loving and respectful to the original series, and we have to continue its legacy and show this great reverence for the original series. Because also on a practical level, the first people that are going to come and watch this are going to be Games Master fans
Yeah.
because they recognize the brand. And if you piss them off from the off, and they're just like, oh, this is a Games Master, and you don't have any word of mouth, then it's dead. So it's like, so even on a practical level, if you're going to remake Games Master, it has to be Games Master. And if you don't want to be like the old Games Master in any way, if you don't want there to be any connection, create new IP, create a new show, and don't call it Games Master. Like it's like either or. For me, it's like either it is Games Master or it's not. So that's what was a big push on my part, and to work out, okay, how do we do that? And I was like, well, we shouldn't go back to any of the locations they did because they did all these different unusual locations. It should be its own new unusual location, so it feels like it's continuing that trend. And also who the games master is really important. And as you can imagine, lots of names thrown around about that. It was like a co-funded show by a big brand, which was Facebook. Obviously became Meta. Actually became Meta just after we delivered and had to pull it out of delivery and change all the Facebook branding for Meta branding. which
Christ.
you can imagine was just like complicated,
Well,
technical
why weren't
process.
they thinking of how difficult that would make your life?
But it's just a massissive machine, isn't it? So I guess
Bloody
our
Mark
project,
Zuckerberg shitting all
yeah,
over the little man.
exactly, just like whatever. And it was funny when it first happened. We had a note from Channel 4 to say, "Oh, don't worry, this doesn't affect us. It's all right." And then about half an hour later, "Oh yeah, no, we're gonna have to pull it. We're gonna have to change it all." So it was like, oh, actually, no, they do care. They do want that change. So, but anyway, we had this big sponsor, also a big, powerful American brand, who put a lot of money in, so they have a big sway. But it's a very niche British IP. It's a very niche British kind of show. Um, and so it was a big part of my job was to be on those calls with these big, like, Facebook head honchos, and convincing them of the nuance of the British identity of what we're making. And thankfully, like, some of that was a bit tough because sometimes some of the stuff doesn't really translate, like, what you want to do. We're going to have the teleporter when people come to see the Games Master. We're going to have at one point he says next, and it cuts to like a head just dropping, and the Games Master's like, must get that teleporter fixed. And they're like, it's a bit morbid, isn't it? Like, I promise it'll work. It's a British thing. It'll work. It makes sense, and it
They'll
did.
get
It
it.
was
They'll
great.
get it.
So it was a challenge to get a lot of that through. But I'm so proud of it because I do think we were able to capture that, and a key thing was that casting of Sir Trevor McDonald as the Games Master, because he ticked a lot of the boxes that I was insistent on that the Games Master would need, which was, I think he should be British, like and not like an American kind of Hollywood star, of which there were people being considered. Samuel L. Jackson was one, was like considered, and I was like, it's not, even though that's amazing to have, Sam Jackson. It's like, whoa, but but it's like, it's not, that's not the spirit of it. It's not, the spirit should be British. I mean, the fact he was a knight of the realm as well, like Sir Patrick Moore, was wonderful. There's a lovely synergy there.
It's got to be a Sir.
Yeah, it's or a dame, and we did consider quite a few dames, and we're like, she since departed us, but Dame Maggie Smith was like someone that I also thought would have been fantastic.
Oh,
But
never for the grace of God go away, right?
yes, exactly. I mean, understandably, she didn't do it, and I thought it was a long shot, but obviously, I would have been wonderful as well because she's just such great attitude. But then, yeah, so Trevor came through and it was like, actually, that's the great fit because also he clearly didn't know anything about video games, and it's like that's really key. It's like that was the spirit and the charm of Sir Patrick Moore. So there was a lot of very careful thought that went into everything, but all in quite a relatively short amount of time. Like the whole production was about 3.5 months from me coming on board to delivery. And that includes like finding that location, like finding that setting, casting all the presenters, all the gamers that came on, the game releases, which bless her, Emily Smith, our series producer, was the one that was in charge of. And game releases at short notice is not a job you ever want to do. And she was an absolute she stormed it. She was brilliant.
Fantastic. Well, it's a two-part question to close this out. First part is you've conquered the world of children's television. You've conquered documentary and factual. You've conquered sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're like Alexander the Great crying salt tears for there are no more lands left to conquer. But I have to ask you, what lands are there left to conquer? What is next for Céin McGillicuddy? And the second part of that question is, what's the largest non-human primate you could beat in an arm wrestle?
What's left to conquer? Wales?
Let's do it.
Yeah, shall we? Let's take it.
There we go. Do a Scandinavian drama set in Wales.
Yes, yeah. No, I suppose. Well, drama is something I am eager to do more of, because, and there's a funny thing. Like sometimes when you do a lot of very comedic work, people almost you don't necessarily see you as like a drama person. Then, as in, can you do non-laughs? Oh yes. Are you a victim of a similar kind of
Oh
curve.
But
yes.
it's the thing with like if you are good at comedy, you know when to deliver that punch, and drama is just delivering that punch at just a different angle. So it's the same.
Exactly. It's
Uh,
it's literally so, and I feel that if you can do comedy, like that's like the tough that's the really tough genre I find, because like comedy lives and breathes by whether it's funny or not. Like it's a much higher bar. Like if it doesn't make you laugh, you actively hate it. You know, people feel like comedy shouldn't exist that doesn't make them laugh. It's like, how dare it exist? They get really visceral and angry about it. You know, so there's a lot more pressure on it. And so I think, and so many people has proven from actors to people behind the camera, when they have moved from comedy into drama, they're incredible, and it tends to get this odd reaction, you know, like Robin Williams did it, and Jim Carrey has done it, and you know, and they suddenly do a serious role, people go, "Oh my God, they're really good, they're really good, dramatic actor. Oh my God!" It's like, do you think the comedy acting was easy? Like, obviously they're good at it
And
because
I
they're
think
doing
there's
comedy
still,
acting, which is
even
really hard.
now, like we're viewed as sort of clowns, like holy
Mm,
fools. Like
yeah,
it's like, oh well, yeah, they're obviously good for making us laugh, but they are functionally just idiots, right?
yeah. Yeah, and like it's funny because even as a director, you get a similar thing. And I've had to, because I there was a job I nearly did. It was going to be like a 90-minute feature documentary, um, and it had a sort of comedic kind of subject to it, and that's sort of why then I got considered because, and the people, some of the people behind it that knew me very well and recognized, had recommended me, and uh, and for about a month. I was having daily calls with this producer who was kind of on the outside, but was hearing whispers. It was going, "I'm hearing you're the front runner. You're the front runner for it." And I was
Oh, I
like, "Yeah,
love
I
those.
really want to do it." So I was like, "It's great, but I feel like it's almost jinxing it." And they're telling me I'm the front runner every day, but we're going for a month without it being confirmed. And I think I would have done it if, but a significant thing happened in the story, as in reality. So it was a documentary, slightly retrospective, but then something happened where the subject of the documentary got convicted for something, and it gave it a much suddenly a darker turn, and the subject wasn't dark like that at all. And so you're like, oh, and the minute that happened in my head, I thought, "Yeah, I'm not going to get it now because it's now more serious." And it was literally the conversation I had then the next day with this producer. Was like, oh, sorry, it's just it's much more serious, and I think that the guys are thinking they should go with this straighter director they've been considering. And I did say to the producer, and I was like, I'm not gonna just get everyone to have a squirty flower and a honky nose. Like, you know, like it's not like inbuilt in me that I just can't help myself, like to make it silly and fun. Like, you know, I can approach everything to the tone in which you know is intended, and you know, we're all human beings, and we all have um, heartache and trauma and loss in our lives. Like, we all are familiar with the emotions that happen in a drama. It's not that we live in some sort of weird comedy bubble. And I think if you know how to make people laugh, you know how to move people because it's all conjuring emotion, you know. And so yeah, so drama, to answer your question, is the thing I've been eager to do, and I'm working on one at the moment. And for those that can see it, Tailback is something I'm writing with another writer, actor writer called Jake Sharp, who we worked together on a project a couple of years ago and met, and he's also from the Black Country, because I'm from the Black Country, from Stourbridge up in the West Midlands. He's from Wolverhampton, and we sort of connected on that, and also just our humour, and we conceived of this idea, which we're writing at the moment, which is unattached. So it's, you know, it's in its early days, but we're writing a speculative first script, and we're very excited. It's the sort of idea that when that dropped in, we're like, with that we have to make that now, and it's really fun and excited to be writing something set in our home neck of the woods as well, around characters that are familiar to us, and you know, in a world that we know so well, and isn't often presented, isn't often seen, you know, on telly. Um, So yes, so really excited about that. So drama is the land I would like to conquer for sure.
Well, I think off the back of the assembly,
Mm.
like you've made a good case for being able to balance both.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
again,
thank you.
not to blow smoke up your ass, but like
Yeah,
we both loved the
Yeah.
assembly so much, and I think it's a real credit to you as a director. And obviously I've admired you when we've been working together,
physically.
because you looked after me on the set,
Yeah, yeah.
making sure that I'm not getting bullied.
Yes,
And,
yes. But
And no
while trying to
lights
take
being
you out
dropped
with
on you.
lights, though. As well.
yeah, of course, inevitably. But yeah, I think bright things in your future, young man.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I certainly hope so.
What's the largest non-human primate you could beat in an arm wrestle?
Um,
Alex wants to know.
it'd probably be some form of large dog. Like I could probably beat a Great Dane because they're pretty big, but also their arms are like, well, dogs' arms are weird shapes, aren't they? They're more like sticks. Like
I'm
the
going to hop
elbows
in
are
because I
way.
think we need to define parameters. I've
Oh,
suddenly got no idea what a primate is.
okay. Oh, hang on. I'm
I'm
thinking mammal. So
this
I'm
is okay,
thinking.
right? We never Google stuff, but like this is actually important for the
Primate
question.
is primate is like a humanoid
Oh,
mammal.
sorry.
So something like I don't know, a gibbon, gorilla, ape, yeah, monkeys, apes.
Monkeys and apes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, yeah, of course. Primate. Yeah. Um,
Because I
yeah.
thought you were right, but there was something at the back of my head being like, "Hang on, something's not clicking. What's happening
Yes,
here?"
sorry. Yeah, I was thinking mammals. You're right, and we're
Honestly,
talking
if we
like
had bothered to
origin
answer the
of the
question,
species kind of type
like,
thing.
if we had actually bothered to do the format of the show, then we would have
Yeah.
found this a lot earlier. But
Right.
now I just
Okay.
wanted to talk
So
Hey,
about
I was
you
having too
instead.
much fun.
a primate is a mammal of an order that includes the lemurs, bush babies, tarsiers. I've committed to reading these out now, and I don't know how to pronounce them.
I'm just gonna say straight
Marmosets.
up,
Marmosets, yep.
I could beat a bush baby.
Yeah. Okay. Monkeys, apes, and humans.
I'd fuck up a capuchin. I'm telling you that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm taking bush babies. I'm taking lemurs. I don't know what a tarsier is, but bring it on.
Rocky
Marmoset.
montage with your wife.
Marmoset. I take you. I'm having you. A monkey. I'm having a monkey. Okay. When it gets to apes, I start to feel a little less confident because some of them are quite big. Maybe
Yeah,
baby ape.
like a little baby
do.
chimpanzee or something.
Yeah, baby chimp. Maybe like yeah.
Okay,
Baby chimp. Does that sound tough? Um, well, actually, I mean, isn't a human bigger? So some humans is probably the answer.
gotta be
Some
non-human
humans,
though.
not others.
Non-human primate was in the question.
Oh, sorry, it's non-human. Sorry, you're right. You're indeed correct. So
That
yeah,
being said, I think
baby ape.
because bigger doesn't necessarily mean stronger. Like I reckon a baby chimp's got something to it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they got them.
Do you
Yeah.
think have I overshot? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I've not been thinking about it.
I mean, when do I actually have to do it? Is the worry.
Well, like I said at the top of the show, it's hypothetical. None of this matters.
Thank God. In that case, I could take a gorilla, mate.
Yeah, I bet.
There
I
we
bet
go.
I know.
Yeah, no worries.
A full
Right. And so
silverback.
what we're doing, we're going to organise this.
Huh?
I pull a rope. Gorilla comes in your room.
Connection got. Sorry.
You can't do it.
Yeah, just um,
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. We've lost him.
yeah. So yeah, I've gone. Apologies. I mean, I've got apologies.
Keen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Pleasure.
It was an
It has been
absolute
a-
pleasure. Thank you so much.
All
A
right.
real joy. I think people are going to get a kick out of this one, and
No, thank you.
it's nice because this is sort of our. We were discussing it before, Sean. It's nice to have someone who's behind the camera rather than in front of it.
Yeah. Is it mostly been people in front then?
Yeah, I mean we've had actors, we've had singers, we've had TikTokers, we've had a ventriloquist,
We've had a marine
and
biologist though.
a marine biologist. To be
Oh,
fair,
cool.
to be
That's
sure.
cool.
But yeah, you're our first TV director slash writer slash producer,
Oh well, I'll take that, and
multi
hopefully
hyphenate.
the last. No, no, there's lots more. I can recommend lots of great people that you should chat to. And
I mean,
in
we
fact,
may well take you up on it because we need ideas.
oh yeah, we'll do. There's a group I'm in, which I was part of rebranding recently, called the Series Directors Collective, which is a WhatsApp group of like over 150 of us series directors. Paul Taylor is in there too, and
We'll
it's
have to
just
get
really,
him on to sort of get him
mm,
to get the alternate perspective on how
yeah,
he
exactly,
felt with horrible histories.
yeah,
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 you're there saying, it's all about, keeping the attitude good, everyone's having a good time. It'd be nice to have him on going, yeah, I'm a Hitler on set.
yeah. Keep them on their toes, exactly. Yeah.
I crack the whip, everyone moves. Get me a fucking coffee.
I'd love to say he's like that as well, but it was really disconcerting how nice he was.
Oh, he's the sweetest.
Yeah,
Like,
lovely, lovely, lovely guy. And then I sort of got a feeling, I was like, oh, okay, I could see why they've sort of brought us in, me and Paul in, because we're of a very similar sentiment and approach, just generally, just very kind of chilled, really.
that's it. I mean,
Right.
you couldn't do horrible histories with like a dictatorial director.
No,
It'd fall apart at the
no,
seams.
oh God, exactly. Yeah, they need nice kind of accepting and malleable people. I think for because it's such a beast. They knew they needed people that could direct the sketches well, but also wouldn't claim some sort of ownership in this kind of like um, egotistical way. And
Wouldn't try to say kill an actor with a light or something.
exactly, they don't want people like that, or
No, keep them
not that
well
they
away.
know of.
Oh, you're
My
saving it for when you're sure you're not getting brought back for the next series.
bad.
Or
Yeah.
you're sure they're not getting brought back for the next
Well,
series?
yes, yeah, yeah.
That's actually how people leave horrible histories. It's a
Is it?
ceremonial thing. We
Or just get taken out by a light.
we get flattened by a light. It's
Yeah.
sort of kind of Looney Tunes style. It's nice. We all have a quiet wake afterwards.
Yes, yeah. This it's a nice way to do it. Actually, just so I know for yourselves, like, do you need to do like a wrap up? So there was a couple of things I was going to mention or throw in, that you can use them if you wanted to use them, or do you need to do like a full wrap up first, or like how does it
Well,
work?
we do need to do the whole if there's anything that you'd like to plug as
Oh
well.
right,
But I
of
think,
that. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's essentially the wrap up. What we normally do is we ask for plugs, and then after that, I screen credits, and then the episode stops.
Right, okay, fine.
yeah.
Oh, fine. Well, there was a couple just because you made me think of it then, and I just thought it's a nice, like, horrible history or funny horrible history story. Um, Ethan, do you remember when we were filming a sketch for Horrible Histories, where it's you and Tom Stoughton as like peasants, and Einel was playing like a Roman soldier, who kept like pulling stuff out. He pulled out like a sword, and then he pulled out like a scroll.
Oh
Do
yeah,
you
and
remember
yeah,
this?
I do remember this.
And it wasn't written into the script like where these things were coming from, but he just had loads of stuff like a shield he pulled out, and the sword was the last thing, and I threw the idea in. I was like, well, I know. What if you just sort of did a little, like a little sort of clench, and you pulled it from behind you, and we sort of insinuated where they were coming from, and I now sort of ran with that and was like loving it. And I think we all just really getting into it, and it was causing some corpsing and stuff. And it was became like a bit of a boys' club where we were just found this really funny, the idea that's where he's pulling all these things from. And then obviously there's a very important thing in children's TV, which as a duty of care to the children, which is around imitable behaviour. We have to be careful not to put anything on screen that children might imitate. And Caroline, our very sensible and great producer, stepped in and was like, guys, I don't think we can do the swords and shields from the bum thing. And we had to stop it and just do another take on the wide without them. But then
And
I
to
now
her
just
credit, she let it go on for a lot longer than it probably should have done.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think she could see we were just really enjoying ourselves and getting really too caught up in it. But then I now really suffered a great loss. I think, from when that was taken out, and he kept trying to sneak it in on his like single shots. And he's going, I'm doing a little tension and pulling as he pulls the sword. And I'm like, no, I know we're not doing the sword
I
out
know
the
we
bum.
can't
Come
do that
on.
now.
Can't do it. We've been told we can't do it. We need options without it.
Well, I know's performing style is great because he throws himself into characters with just boundless enthusiasm.
Yeah, he does. It's
Like he
brilliant.
makes strong choices every time.
Yeah, yeah, really, really, really good. And you know, I worked with him again then on Pickle Storm. So I actually done three now: Horrible Histories, Horrible Science, and Pickle Storm with Einell. And yeah, he's just always an absolute joy. And yeah, strong choice is really key. And I learned that the importance of strong choice when I made a little director's cameo in a sketch for Horrible Histories. It was a sketch I was directing, but it came up that we needed certain little support, supporting artist roles, and it was William Shakespeare versus um, uh, William Shakespeare versus King James for who got more terminology into the English language, but
Yes.
in a rap battle.
Yes.
And
Good
Einell
sketch that.
Einell was like the MC of the rap battle. Tom Stoughton was Shakespeare, and Richard was playing King James, and going through with the second AD, we need essays for this scene, and it was like King James's hype men. He's like, well, I was going to get a couple of. I was like, no, that's my role. Stop right there. That's my cameo. And so myself and Leon Jan, who was the assistant producer that series, were then Richard's hype men. And I remember like getting all dressed up, and because we had to be dressed as like bishops, I think. So I had the full like really long beard attached, to my real beard, and then had all the gear on, and silly hat and all that. And I went and asked James, who, of course, James McNicholas, who had on, and
Formerly of this
Jess.
parish.
Yes, yeah, and Jess, who were playing the hype men for Tom on the other side. I went and asked them some advice and said, like, okay, like as a non-performer, what's your advice for me? And they said, just go strong and wrong.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
time.
And I actually hadn't known that term. And I was like, what's strong and wrong? And they went, just like, if you make a commitment to something, it might be wrong, but at least if you make it strong, it might be right. And the thing is, if you don't commit, then it's definitely wrong because it's half-hearted and it's a bit limp, and it's like, so actually you're better off committing to something because there's more chance of it being right. And a director or whoever might go, oh, well, let's rein that back. Let's rein that back a bit. But if it's better to commit strongly than to like be half-hearted and feel the anxiety, feel the kind of lack of wanting to commit, and then that just stinks, and you're like, yeah, that doesn't work. So I was like, okay, yeah, strong and wrong, yeah, I like that. Okay, so I thought, let's do it, and shot their side, directed those, and it came round to my side, and we had a sort of a director who was sort of training, who was shadowing me that day, and so he directed the shots I was in. So as in, he checked the shots and everything. So that was great. So who's doing that? Came around onto my side. I came on, really went for it. Like I went strong and wrong. I thought I'd just give it my all. Proper sort of hype man monk style. And obviously, as you well know, Ethan, the professional courtesy of an actor is that they still perform off camera for you. So you can connect with their performance and that helps your performance. It's the polite thing to do.
Yeah, I have in the past done a scene with an actor off camera who was actively on their phone, and it's really hard.
Oh wow! I mean that's exactly. So it's that's really not on. And so the accepted thing, like I was giving everything for them, so they had lots to bounce off. So I was like, great, I'll look over it, James and Jess, to feed off of their performing energy. They were just off to the side, burying their face in a black curtain, like both laughing so like hard, like and not performing at all. Like and I was like, of course, well, I don't know why they're laughing. Are they laughing because it's good, or they're laughing like, what on earth is he doing? Like, because I'm not a performer. So and I see that, I'm like, oh, well, thanks, guys. Thanks very much. Great support. So obviously, after we finish a take and I go over, and they're just sort of, coming out the aftershocks of it, like, doing all of that. And I said, so is that good or bad? And they went, that was strong and wrong. And I was like, but is that good or bad though? They went, it's strong and wrong. And that's all they would commit. That's all they would commit to say.
It's strong and wrong, and that's different from being good or bad.
Yeah, it's full stop. So I still don't know to this day, like whether that was good or bad laughter or not. And it was actually a really valuable lesson for me as a director to have even just a semblance of the experience that you guys have of the how exposing performing is, how like it makes, you don't know, like you can't see yourself from outside, like, is what I'm doing good or not? And how important that reassurance is, when it is good, and how important that directness is, and honesty if something does need to change, so you do know where you stand. Because I imagine there's nothing worse than getting like placated kind of like notes from director. Oh no, yeah, it's good, it's good, it's good, and you're like, is it though? I don't know if I believe you. Like, you need.
No,
to
you
be able to
always want to
believe-
be pushed. There was a scene you directed me in when we were in the that ancient village near Portsmouth.
Mm. Oh
Uh,
yes, yeah.
and it was I think the premise of the scene was all about like Roman coinage and like how one can only be an emperor if one has a coin, but then there were loads of counterfeits, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
I'd gone in with an idea of where I thought I could pitch a character, but you encouraged me to do an annoying high-pitched voice
Oh yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
we sort of had experimented in rehearsal. And having watched the sketch back, God damn, you were so right. Like, it
Yes, I
really
remember that
elevated
one.
that scene.
Yeah.
I mean, that to be said, with Horrible Histories, like basically everyone on the production crew has been in at least one sketch.
Yes. I mean, that was why. That's why I was going, because you were heavily encouraged.
I mean, Leon, who you mentioned earlier,
Mm.
is basically one of the main cast at a certain point.
He was just in most sketches. He never had any time to be an assistant producer.
He had like dialogue.
Yeah. And he's brilliant. I mean, he is from an acting background, of course, and I think he did a small role in Hollyoaks for a little while. I think so. So he was perfect for it, and just really naturally funny guy. And in fact, he was in that sketch, that one you were talking about the coins. He was one of the customers. I
Of
remember
course. Yeah, he rocks up.
and he played it. It was really camp. He was like this sort of camp customer, like, but he didn't have any lines. But he really brought this character to it. It wasn't at all him. It's like it's just really bouncing, like really, jumping off of out.
The one I always had for him, because it was just such a good choice. It was when we were at the old docks down in Kent, and we had that scene where I think I was with Ammonite, who was a production crew, and walking down this road filled with shops and everything. And Leon's manning one, and he's looked around at what's like on the stall, like what the art department have dressed on the stall. And we're walking past him, and I just hear him going, "Bird cages! Get your bird cages!" There's nothing else. It's just bird cages and maybe like a plastic carrot or something.
He's a funny man. We kept in touch a lot, Leon and I. So we've actually become quite good friends. And I got invited to his wedding reception and stuff. Went and joined the
wonderful.
party stuff. He's a great guy. He's just really, really good soul. And I think we were bonded over being fellow hype men. I think once we'd done that, we were locked in for life.
That's it. Once you've gone strong and wrong as a hype man, you can never go back.
Yes, yeah.
Keen plugs.
Yes, plugs. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I certainly, because I'm looking at the time and I'm like, my word, we've taken up so much of it.
Oh God, no, like honestly, don't worry about me. I'm just conscious of you. If you guys need to go,
Oh no, we don't. But we also don't want to Joe Rogan it.
Well, just giving you options, because I also know I have a tendency to elongate the answer, and I'm feeling really sorry for you, because I'm going, I don't know if I'm leaving even the breaths to give you like cutting options, which is awful because I'm so aware of that kind of thing.
Oh, we will not cut any of this.
What's that?
We won't cut any of this.
Oh God, it's all going in. Oh, brilliant. And well, what I'll do, what you might want to cut then is probably me just quickly having a wee. That's right. And then you
Absolutely.
might want to cut that. Unless I could probably take the laptop. No, I'll leave it. I'll leave it. Yeah.
Oh, mate.
I was just thinking to myself because like we'd started a little late, so I was like, okay, so 11:10 will be cut off, and here we are, 11:45.
Blimey. Oh, gosh.
It's a good app.
It is
I know you're
good.
not supposed to say that while the app's still happening, but this is a good app.
No, it's because I was thinking, like while we we're filling, but yeah, I was thinking while he was talking about his whole process and like your interactions between you, there is definitely and the way that he wants the projects to be portrayed as well, and how successful it is because he is such a leader. He's not a director. He isn't. He knows what he wants to get from people, and he will bring them along with him
He's a
instead of telling them
realizer.
to do. Yes, he is not a
Like
director. He is
literally
a
in the French
realizer.
term, he is a realizer.
Yeah, and yeah, it's
Sorry, we're just gassing you up.
That's fine. What was that? What were you saying?
We were we were saying how great you are. Like literally, we're like, yo, he actually is a realizer. He really is.
Oh, thanks.
it's
I
yeah,
think-
it's well, I've just got a I find it that there's like you've either got a management role or a leadership role when it comes to things like that, and you're
Mm,
very much a leader. You will bring people with you, and
mm.
that is very much a part of that comes across, which is something that I think is vital in trying to get more of an emotion and sort of an experience of
Yeah,
of that over in the projects, and it's just yeah,
it's really
awesome.
important. Uh historically, there's a bit of a misunderstanding around a director being like all the creative brilliance comes from them and everybody just facilitates their genius, like that's the kind of like this old school kind of image of it. And it's
Sort of
not like,
French auteur
yeah, well,
theory,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Maybe some people maybe go into it thinking it's that, or maybe try to become a director because like a massive sort of egomaniac or something. But I just find it's not that's not your project won't be good if it's only your ideas that make it through. Like, because you may have some good ideas, but you won't have the best idea for every aspect. And that pooling of creative instincts and experience and knowledge, and having an open kind of heart to embracing it, is how you get brilliance, because then all the best stuff floats to the top, like, because it becomes clear when everyone's bouncing back and then someone says, oh, about this punchline, and it gets the big laugh. Go, yeah, that's it. And then you use that. And like, ultimately, no one knows what that process was. And so it makes you look good. Like, anyway, do you know what I mean? And people go, oh, that joke you wrote or that joke you directed was so great. And you're like, well, it wasn't really mine. That came from so and so saying it, um, and or what happens a lot of the time, which is why I work with writer partners and like with Andy Kinnear on a lot of comedy stuff, and Jake Sharp I'm working with on Tailback, is like, because most of the time, the idea you end up with is that sum of parts from the conversation between you. So actually, what you end up having written is something that never would have existed with either of you in isolation. So it is like a combination, and that could be like between just two of you, or if you're making something, it's a combination of what the DOP's done, and the gaffer, the production design, the costume, makeup, locations, the performers, everybody like involved there is like put their own little like bit of genius in it, and it comes together. And really, my job as a director is, to have like, the vision, which is an annoying word because it makes you sound like you think you're some sort of like all-seeing deity, which only a few of us are. you know.
It's you, Paul,
Sweet Paul, yeah, and
and that's it, really.
that's probably about it. And I'm only naming Paul because I work with him, and he'll probably
That's just a
annoy-
professional courtesy.
exactly, yeah. No, so like, but the vision thing is important because that's the cohesion. So directors almost should be called the communicator rather than the director, like, because it's really about communicating something clear through all the departments, so there's a cohesion. So whatever you end up capturing on camera is cohesive for when you take it into the edit, that it represents what the intention was, either of yours if you're authoring it, or of the writer or the producers or the broadcaster. What the thing was they wanted. It's your job to encapsulate that and capture that through everybody's brilliant ideas fed in, and making sure there's a cohesion to it, and take that into an edit. And then obviously realize it in an edit and deliver it, after that stage. That's really the job. So it's kind of just about making sure everybody's clear, and you don't get that sort of confusion where people think they're making one thing and then somebody else thinks they're making something else. And it's really important.
Certainly from an actor's perspective, like a lot of it for us feels sort of almost alchemical in a way, because by and large, Horrible Histories being a great example of this, by and large, we'll turn up with, we've got our words and we know what we're going to say, but we don't know really what the set's going to look like. We don't really know your shot order, like what the
Nor
costumes
do
are
I.
going to be like, and limitations and things like that. And then when we get on set, how it plays, because there's barely any rehearsal time, and so what ends up happening is just sort of what happens. And again, I suppose to use the wanky term vision, your job there is to see what we're doing and sort of isolate the points where it's like, oh, okay, now they found something. Now they're in a groove. Let's let them go.
Yes,
See what happens.
Yeah, and it is like that, and I sort of see it a bit like something like Horrible Histories. It's kind of you're surfing to a certain extent. You do all the prep you can, but like you say, it's not like a really expensive, high budget drama where you go and wreck each location and you can really plan it out, or you could do previs like a lot of sort of action films, or visual effects heavy films. You do all previs of shot for shot, and then you come and you just plan it. You're doing those shots. It's not that. Like a lot of the time, you maybe haven't really seen the set, or you haven't seen the location. But you certainly haven't rehearsed it with you guys, because there's like, I don't know how many there must be in the series, but there's like hundreds sometimes of sketches. So it's like you can't get to do all of that. And even if you did, that would have been weeks ago, and you've done so many sketches now. It's like, what did we rehearse for that again? Like, you wouldn't really remember it. So you have to just use your experience and how to kind of feel it out. And I see it kind of like surfing. The wave is going, and you can't control a certain aspect. You can't control the time. Like, time is winding on. You've got to keep moving, and you can't control the wave, but you can control your decisions on the board with on that wave. So your decisions that help you stay upright, and you keep it moving. You keep it running, and and working. And so it's kind of like that, where there's the stoicism I find is a really useful thing for any aspiring directors out there. I mean, for anyone generally, but especially for directors. And the principles of stoicism, of like you recognizing what you can't control and what you can, and only focusing your energies on what you can control, because it's wasted energy to focus on what you can't, such as the weather or the past. You can't control or change any of those things, so it is illogical to worry about those. And it's like that on set. If you're on set, something could go wrong. That prop's broken, like, and they're going to need to fix it. I can't control the fact that prop is now broken and that's delaying us. So there's no point me going and hanging around the art department, like going, oh, could you do quicker, or and like I'm trying to make them do something. I'm trying to, and it's like they will do it. They know what they're doing, and they will get to it and fix it and get it back to you as soon as they can. And I know I can trust that because they're all professionals. So okay, I can't control that. What can I control? I can control what we shoot next to help save time. So what's a shot where we don't need that prop in? I needed a cutaway of that. So let's shoot that cutaway now. and hopefully by the time we've done that, they're probably ready and we can carry on the scene. So it's kind of, you know, that's the sort of approach I take, and I think it's the most practical, and it means that you should never need to panic, because also panicking, as according to Stoicism, is like, what's the point? You know, if you panic, you can't think, and then that will make you panic more. It's self-fulfilling. So you just got to keep a cool head, and go, okay, be logical. What can I do? And you take that right up to the end, which is why in those last 1 or 2 minutes of the day is when the producers will feel extra nervous, because I don't necessarily look any different. and I'll still be like calmly, okay, thank you. Then next, you know, and it'll be like, why? Almost like, why are you not like, okay, next guys, like you're kind of expecting this, because it's like tossing the hair. I think, yeah, but if you do that, that creates like a panic and a stumble, and you're more likely to trip over your own feet and fall. But if you are, you know, like paramedics never run to an accident, like, even though it's like, oh, but it'll be a bit quicker, because they might fall and hurt themselves. And so it's like, no, they will walk steadily, so they know they will get there. And it's the same sort of attitude of like, we're steady, and I know in my mind, I know what we've got to get, and I know that will work in that time. If we take this pace, we'll get it, and we'll wrap with about 3 seconds to spare, and the producers can prolapse.
Make it safe. Don't worry about budget. Don't worry about time. Make it safe.
Ensure it's safe first and foremost. Finish on time. Just find but never compromise safety to do so. Yes, yeah.
For people listening at home, when he said that, he picked up a massive tankard of water and took a sip, as if to really put a full stop on that.
That was
that's
smooth as
true.
well,
Actually,
yeah.
I hadn't noticed that. Maybe that is something I'm doing, isn't it?
It's wonderful. But yeah, I mean, what a place to end. I really can. Yeah, this has been a good app. I really think people are really going to dig this one.
I hope so.
I've just
I don't
had
know
an
if it's
absolute
been.
blast.
Oh, good. I was worrying it's been a bit dry, like a bit kind of, you know, like basically I never can be quite sure how much people find the job interesting, because it was probably about 5-10 minutes into Meet My Wife that she didn't want to hear any more about me talking about directing. Because I tend to talk at her about these things that I really love and passionate about. And I've learned now, okay, like, you know, that's not why she loves me. And if anything, it's sort of undoing it somewhat if I just keep talking at her about my job. So, but I do love talking about it, as you can probably tell. Like, it's my passion, it's my life. And so I do, but I do worry sometimes because of that. I'm like, people just like, will you shut up talking about directing all the time?
Well, I mean, one of two things really. Number one, like, I know from my experience that people who aren't in the biz, as it were, by and large, tend to be really interested in how these sorts of things work, because you know it's a very mystified sort of job we work, where, you know, we
Yes.
turn money into something, and then that becomes light, and then it turns into money again. So it's sort of a weird thing. So people are interested in that. But also the second point that I would make is that if you haven't enjoyed this episode, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is our show.
You
We do
got
what
to
we
this
fucking
point,
want.
you got to here, and you're like, no, I didn't like it.
I'm out. An
And
hour 56 in, I'm out.
Yeah, let's face it, they're not here now. Anyway, anyone that's here now is somehow
Are the real
managed
ones.
to put up with the fact that my voice is pretty much all vowels and no consonants.
Well, at the very least, like I said, it's our show, and we found it interesting. So
yeah, exactly. And
I mean,
like I you know that phenomenon, like, when you hear your own voice, like, on a recording, and you're like, why does it sound so different? Which actually, I don't know. Do you know why that is? I found this out recently.
I do, yes, but
Yes,
I
I
don't want to
imagine
spoil it.
we did it on the we discussed it. I think.
Oh, did
Was
you?
it on pod or was it off pod?
I can't remember. It might have been both.
Let's do it again anyway. Go Keen.
So my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is because it's two forms of conduction. Is that right? Yeah. So
Yes.
air conduction is how we hear each other, but for yourself, you hear the air conduction, but also bone conduction.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. And what you can do to make it sound a bit more like how other people will see you, if you talk into the palm of your hand, but then cricket, so it's aimed more towards your ear, it will actually sound differently as well.
Testing. Oh God. Oh yeah.
I remember now. Irony of ironies, we did this with James McNicholas.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, how funny.
Because I remember it was me and James sat there with our hands over our mouths on a podcast.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. You know, I'm wondering now, is that where I learnt it? I think I might. What like this is becoming like Inception. Like we're eating. It's the podcast is
Christ, we're
eating
not even at
itself.
25 episodes yet, and we're already regurgitating
Yeah,
content from old
it's eating
episodes.
itself. Like I don't. I think that's where I've found that out, and now I've been bringing it back. Like what is going on?
This is the point where people switch off.
Yeah. And there it is, and click. There was one final thing, and again, if you
No,
want to,
please,
whether
please.
you
I
want to
mean,
cut this
this
or
would be a
not,
bumper
leave it
app.
to
I
it.
love it.
But I was just very conscious. My autistic brain is very conscious that I didn't fully answer your question about like top coppers, how that came about. Like and so just to give you, I went in way too detailed, which is also a complaint to my wife very regularly. So I'll give you the more of the overview. But we made that 15-second version, Top Coppers. Started trying to work in telly, get it. Andy and I got jobs as like I was a runner and he was a tape librarian because he wanted to become an editor, so he was working post house and stuff. And we worked our way up and got to a point where he was starting to do small edit jobs and I was doing like one man band kind of making stuff for online. So a lot of people would want like online shorts and with their shows and stuff and I was like Bert from Mary Poppins, but with a camera and a laptop on my back and stuff, so I could sort of edit and shoot and stuff all at the same time.
Step in time.
With a terrible accent, in a different
Cool,
way.
blimey.
Yeah, and so I was doing that, and we were like, I feel like we could do more with Top Coppers. We could expand that out, and we wrote these 6 like 5-minute episodes, and decided to kind of self-fund it. We saved a bit of money, so we got together about a total about 10 grand, I think it was, and we just convinced loads of people that we had met in the industry that were up and coming as well, and a guy who was a DOP who I'd met. I was doing a corporate film about ink cartridges. And he was doing something similar, and we ended up editing in the same room. And I spotted his stuff, and I said, "I'd love to know how you shot that because it looks beautiful." He said, "Well, I was wondering about yours because you've made it really funny, but it's about ink cartridges." And so we were sort of like interested in each other's, like for the reasons that we were excelling at. He was like, "Oh well, I'm a DOP," and I was like, "Oh well, I'm a director and I write and direct comedy and stuff. That's what I want to do." And so got him on board as the DOP and lots of other people we'd met along the way. And everyone went up to Midlands, like to my hometown. We all lived on the top floor of my brother's pub for like 2 weeks because he had this like top floor he wasn't using, just abandoned rooms, and we turned them into like bedrooms and art room and costume makeup room and stuff. And then we just like sourced loads of locations locally, through like because I've grown up there, people we kind of knew and pulled favors and made this mini series with the most elaborate kind of settings and concepts. We even managed to do a chase scene where Mahogany and Rust are chasing an aeroplane, like at on a runway, because we used this local business airport. That my dad, my mum and dad have a business, and they had an office at the airport at the time, and they just had like, "Do you have any runways not using?" And they're like, "Yeah, there's like runway 7 is kind of off the beaten track. You could use that." And then the production manager's like, "Oh, my dad flies one of those like are they biplanes, are they? With the double wing stuff."
Yeah.
I could get him to fly it up if you like. So he flew up, landed at the airport, and he just drove it for us and got him to take off, and it's all it's all part of it. So it was mad, and it was like we did all that for free. Basically, we got that whole like a chase scene of a plane for free. So we just threw everything we could at it, and made like a proof of concept. This sort of 6 5-minute episodes, and we were going to release it like online, and put it on Facebook. I put a trailer on to say first episode out next week, and few friends shared it, A friend of mine shared it, and this producer called Molly Friedman, who was working at Rough Cut TV at the time, saw it and sent Mike a message saying, "Oh, did you make this? Who's this?" And he's like, "Oh, this is my friend of ours." And she said, "Oh, I'd love to chat to them. It looks really interesting." And went in and met Molly and met Ashatala, who is the owner of Rough Cut and is, as I'm sure you know, he's big cheese and telly. He's the creator of The
Oh yeah.
Office, and the IT Crowd, and Man Stroke Woman, like in the early days. But now, since making Rough Cut, loads of big shows, Trolleyed, People Just Do Nothing, like really, really big stuff, and a real powerhouse, in comedy. And we met Ash, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd love to option it and develop it with you for telly, but don't want you to release it, so that keep it fresh, like for the broadcasters and stuff." So we ended up having to put these straps like on the trailer, like you can add annotations, I think, over the top on YouTube. And I had to put these annotations over the top saying "coming soon" instead, and then we start to get comments go, "Well, I thought it was coming out on Friday. What's going on?" We're like, "Ah, yeah, Friday-ish, just soon."
We didn't say
Like,
what Friday.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We didn't say what Friday. That's cool. Why didn't I say that? That's much better. And so we started developing it with them, and just over time, Ash pitched at different channels. ITV and BBC were sort of interested, and he was like, "Well," to ITV, he's like, "Well, BBC are interested," and to BBC, he's like, "Well, ITV are interested," and you can imagine channels are like, "Oh, well, I mean, and the BBC went for it, and they gave us a pilot initially, a non-broadcast pilot, which we made, and then and they commissioned the series from that, and we changed a few bits and changed a lot of the assets. I'm quite glad that the non-broadcast pilot was non-broadcast, because there was definitely things style wise that I wanted to change. It was great to have that option, and then we made the series, and I'm so proud of it, because it encapsulates what Andy and I always really wanted to make, which is something that has good feeling and heart, and is a overall really positive, nice experience. So anyone that watches it just comes out feeling in a better place, and that was always our intention. So it's something that could be light and fun enough, but have enough kind of grit to it in the humor still, that it's not saccharine or kind of schmaltzy. It's still funny, but it's really good natured, and we were able to carry that through. So across those 9 years, from 2006 to 2015, and it's still, even from 15 seconds to like 3 hours, like 6.5 hours, it still had the same essence. Like there was like an essence to it that maintained. So we're so proud of it, and that's the kind of work we continue to try to do, and hopefully is coming through with stuff like the assembly, and potentially the next thing we're going to be making, which I don't know, because it's not official yet, and so but it probably is by the time you're hearing this. But it's a
Well,
project.
it depends. Do we drop you in it? Do we
Well, I
hope
guess.
that?
Yeah. Well. Oh, yeah. Good point. Oh God. So it's just a single, unscripted format, like a half-hour unscripted format. Um, it's called Playtime, and a group of comedians, improv performers, come together on a day where they're going to perform a play that night, but they don't know what the play is going to be about at all, until they interview a group of 6-year-old primary school children in the morning, and
Oh,
get all of the ideas from them.
Amazing.
excellent. I'm
Yeah.
on board already.
So that's the concept. And
Commission that right away. I wish I had that sort of power.
well, what's lovely is ITV have commissioned us to make this as a single, which I guess you never know if it will go further, but at least we're going to get to do it as a single, and it's for Disability History Month, and so significantly a lot of the children will be autistic or learning disabled, neurodivergent, as will be some of the performers. And so it'll go out as sort of part of that strand,
Wonderful.
a little later this year, yeah, 25. So I'm excited for that because that also has a lot of that spirit and energy, and obviously a lot of the energy of the assembly actually. A lot of that human connection is really key. But it's an idea that Andy and I had had for a while, for quite a long time actually. Um, uh, and it's not, it's quite low budget, so we sort of were forced to rethink it when pitching it for this strand. Um, and it actually ended up better for it because it was going to be, like the story bit, I guess, the play bit was going to be like a drama, like we shot it like a drama, so like really high end. But then when we were like, we'd have to probably do it same day, and what if it was like a time challenge and it's a play they put on? Then we're like, oh, then the play is for the children and their family and their friends, and then the children get to see their bits come alive and their characters, and they're pointing and go, oh, that's my bit, Dad. That's my bit, Mom. So, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, that's so much better. That's so lovely, and that's that connection, and children seeing their ideas being brought to life, which will give them confidence, and to maybe go on and chase something that they might not have thought they could do. So it could be inspiring to give children, and especially children, on with learning disabilities, or on the spectrum, like who might think those opportunities are not open to them, um, could make them think, actually, yeah, actually, I could do it. Look, because it works. I had an idea. It's now on this stage, and it works. Everybody's laughing or enjoying it, or everybody's crying, and they're touched by it. So why not? So it's a really lovely essence to it. So we're really excited about that.
I mean, if there was a watchword for the way you conduct yourself in your work and the things that you create, it's that lack of cynicism.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if you saw me and Sean's faces while you were talking about that, but I was watching Sean's thing. We were both there, like, huh? Yeah. And then what?
Oh, I'm pleased it's had that reaction. Yeah, I'm hoping that that's the feel. If you released a trailer or something like that, that's the thing it'll capture, and people just like, oh, like because they're going to come out with some really weird shit.
Oh yeah.
Because kids always come
Yeah.
out with weird shit, like, and it's brilliant, and it's that unbridled, unrestrained imagination, which we can end up losing as adults. So I think a big part of it will be adults kind of finding a childlike energy and a childlike imagination again, and taking that, so learning from the kids, learning, like, actually, yeah, like, why do I put myself down and go, oh no, don't do it, why have I lost that joy, because life, should be joyful, like that essence we have as children. It's not that we grow out of it, it's that we lose it, and it's really important, I think, to try and find that, again, if you do lose it.
There's so many points in this episode where Keen says something really profound, and I'm like, we must clip that, but it's happened about 17 times.
I'll do 17 clips. It's fine.
17 clips. Well, if you do find out when/where it's going to end up, we can put this episode up to coincide with it, or do whatever we need to do to get more eyes on it, because
Brilliant. Thank you.
We're big Keen fans
Yes.
on this pod.
Definitely.
Oh, thank you. But obviously, Sean, it's our first time meeting.
Yes.
But I am fast becoming a fan of you, and I'm a follower of yours as of this morning.
Thank you. Yes, I
Already.
saw.
And Ethan, of course, as you know, a big fan. Big fan.
Oh, big fan. Big fan.
Love.
Same back. Big fan of your work.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you would like to plug specifically, before we roll out?
No. Hang on. Let me think.
I mean, obviously, our plug. I think mine and Sean's plug. I think it would be fair to say is watch the assembly.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, absolutely.
Sony...
It's on the ITV player. Just go and do it. It's 4 eps. They're about 22 minutes long. You've got time. What are you doing? What are you doing that's so fucking important?
Nothing.
That you can't take like 90 minutes out of your day. Come on.
And to be honest, like, they fly by as well. Like
they really do.
Yeah,
they really
do. Oh,
do.
what? It's over already. Like, it's and I know people who've watched one, and their partners want to really watch the next one, but they've said, no, I don't want to just blast through them, like as in they feel so special. They're like, I sort of want to savor them a bit, like, and they're like, I don't want to just like get them all over and done with. It's like almost like wanting to take your time with your food or something. It was, so people
It's
have had
also
really different reactions.
when you're watching them again though, it's kind of it's I don't know what it is about it. It's like the reactions and the interactions. It feels like it's evergreen. Like you can just
Yeah,
watch it again and you still feel that same swell and that
yeah,
and like that. Oh my God! And then there's other little bits that you've missed before when some of the group in the background are also going like, "Oh yeah," kind of thing. When they agree
yes.
with, well, like when someone says something and then the others sort of go, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good point," kind of thing, and seeing it dawn on them as well. It's just yeah. So
Yeah, that's lovely. Well, I'd certainly, in terms of things to plug, I would certainly, if you're going to watch anything of mine, I would suggest anything on my wall. Or no, sorry, everything on my wall, I would suggest. No, I'd say, the assembly in terms of recent stuff, which you can obviously see in ITVX, is a lovely, lovely watch, and will just make you feel good. Top Coppers is has been on a few platforms. It's currently on the major streaming platform of keen.co.uk. So that's cein.co.uk, and you can see all the episodes on there. And
I've
that
quite a high subscription price for that one though.
it
Yeah,
is, yes. It's
£30 a
£10 in an
week.
envelope to me every day, um, in cash. Um,
Don't tell the HMRC.
yeah, don't tell
Ooh.
HMRC. Let's hope they're not listening at this point. Um, actually, some lesser known ones, I'd say Sexy Murder, which was also on the BBC. That was a little mini series we did after Top Coppers. And also has Rich Fulcher in, who we had in Top Coppers, but he's playing the lead role in that.
Love
And
Rich
is
Fulcher.
a really good, fun, silly Mickey take basically out of high-end crime documentaries, like really slick crime documentaries like The Jinx, where it's like a thriller, but it is documentary, it's all really cool, and I love The Jinx, and the styling of it is incredible, and so it's sort of aping that a bit about this American documentary filmmaker, um, Christoph Spinetti, who becomes so obsessed with like finding someone who's been wrongly accused of a crime to make a documentary about them, that he inadvertently and not consciously gets someone accused of a crime, like by almost pointing the finger saying it's not him, making people more suspicious of him, and slowly, episode by episode, ruins this guy's life. And he's completely
Excellent.
innocent. And it's obviously completely ludicrous, but it's very, very committed in style. So it's one of those you could almost watch 30 seconds to a minute before you go, oh no, hang on, this is a joke. So that it looks very kind of real. So that's sort of a lesson, and you can still see that on BBC's YouTubes and stuff, I think. So probably and obviously Games Master, as Sean's mentioned, which I wouldn't forgive myself if I don't show you this, Sean, whilst you're on.
Oh,
Give me a second.
there's some reaching going on.
Some reaching. I'm having to take a few things off to get to it. Hang on. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
It is a Games Master golden joystick.
holy crap!
In a display case as well. Look at
As
that.
it
Yeah.
well bloody should be. Look at that.
Yes. So for those on the audio, I am displaying to Sean a Games Master gold joystick. These were the ones which we awarded to people in the 2021 series. And at the end of the show, I personally paid the production designer to make a load for all of the members of the team. So everybody who was the key member of Games Master took away a gold joystick, which, as you can imagine, the vast majority of them, I think if not all of them, are gamers, which is why we hired them for it. And this was like, better than anything money could ever buy, because it is ultimately just an old joystick painted gold. But
It's
know,
not, though. It's
not
not.
that,
It's more than
exactly.
that.
not.
It goes beyond that. It goes beyond that.
That's so
And
cool.
so this was the wrap gift, if you like, for all the team members. And so I actually just paid for mine, which makes it feel really shallow. because I awarded it to myself. I was like, I got to make the show, so I'd like one, please, and just paid for one. So
but
it's sort of,
how other would you be able to get one though? That's
well, exactly, not through my gaming prowess because I'm really terrible.
It's been a
and-
while.
unless the challenge was like Transport Tycoon Deluxe, I don't think I was going to be winning at anything. Because that was my game. Oh, I love that. That was the best. So there you go. Yeah, I wouldn't have forgiven myself if I hadn't showed you that.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, honestly, I genuinely, I love this. The fact that the plug section is just Keen's back catalogue, all of it.
Yeah.
Just go and
watch my stuff.
consume all of it.
Games
Oh, there's
Master,
Made in Chelsea
following
somewhere
his-
as well. Yeah.
Oh, made in Chelsea. I've done some.
God, we didn't even get onto that.
Some of season 4. All you need to know is I did the longest stint I did was 3 episodes of season 4, and that's the season that won the BAFTA. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll take it. Obviously, I can claim a small part of that, but it's still, you still claim some. That's the
Yeah.
key.
you're still BAFTA award winning.
Yes,
Keen
yeah,
McGillicuddy.
exactly. But yeah, so Top Coppers, Games Master, Horrible Histories, of course, seasons 10 onwards. Horrible Science, a new one, and Sexy Murder, and of course the Assembly, latest one. So any of those, if everyone could just get those done in the next couple of days, drop me a message. That'd be great.
£10 in an envelope.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Well, Keen, thank you so much for coming on. This
thank
is
you,
going to
mate.
be an absolute bumper ep, and I'm so looking forward to it. But for now, credits!
Thank you for listening to Shut Up and Answer the Question. I am Sean Anthony at Sean Anthony everywhere and Loudmouth Gaming on YouTube, and my co-host is Ethan Lawrence, Ethan D. Lawrence everywhere. If you want to follow us, we are Shut Up and Answer Pod on Instagram, Shut Up Pod on TikTok, and we now have a YouTube channel. Subscribe to Shut Up and Answer the Question. Oh, that's weird saying that. If you have a question you would like us to answer, send it to shutuppod@yahoo.com or join the legal team on our Discord. The music was by Eyes on Legs and the artwork was by Kitsune Kei. Thanks Podbean for hosting us. Catch you later.
Shut up and answer the question.
I feel now the same way that I felt when we had the Blowfish, who was the marine biologist on.
Oh, really?
Like, just after, I just feel soaked in knowledge.
Oh, that's good. Oh, well, hopefully, yeah, because I don't feel very knowledgeable, but I suppose maybe about this.